Hey guys, I'm Mike here. I hope y'all had a good week. Today I wanted to talk about a little experience I had with a skull fracture many years ago that changed my life for the better. And it all starts with like this week, I had a yoga teacher say in class that a miracle could be simply a change of perception, perspective. And a change of perspective is literally what changed my life for the better. And it all was because of a skull fracture that happened about 15 or so years ago. And so I just wanted to share that story because it's super powerful. It's single-handedly the turning point, the catalyst of all of the changes that I've made in my life for the better. Um, Yeah, so I'd like to share the story, and also you might hear some noise outside because it is windy and stormy, and so it does seem fitting to share this story because it definitely had some stormy moments with a clear sky afterwards. But you certainly don't see the clear sky when you're in the thick of it before maybe changing a perspective. And so here is my story. Um, I was in Long Island with a bunch of friends, having a great day, and next thing you know, I fell on the ground and knocked my head. We were kite surfing and on skateboards and fell and just knocked my head and hit the ground. I passed out, a big pool of blood next to me. Somebody told my friends, they came over and got me, brought me to the hospital, and then I just had a period of recovery at home with friends and ex-girlfriend taking care of me. And so I knocked my head on the ground, and I'm lucky to be alive just because the fluid that would normally get trapped between your brain and your skull actually released out of my ear. It's really the only reason I'm alive. But so then I was at home, and when I would wake up in my bed, I wouldn't even know I was in my own bed. I didn't even know I was in my own house. I had what's called vertigo. I also couldn't eat hardly. I was on a bunch of medicine. I had to see a neurologist every other week, and I was not allowed to swim, or they said, we don't know when you're going to be able to go back in the water. And water and being in the water is a big part of my life. And so I was very depressed. After vertigo wears off, after about 10 minutes or so, you are more coherent, and that's when I would just go down a rabbit hole in my brain of like, this sucks. Why did this happen? Am I gonna get better? Am I gonna be able to swim? Oh geez, here we go, another day, and I'm still just where I'm at as far as feeling down. And so I literally was just laying there for weeks in a depressive state of mind. I'm not a suicidal type of thinker. However, during that period of my life, I did have thoughts of, well, why wasn't my head knock a little bit harder and just knock me out, take me out? Because I was in a place of unknown, not knowing like if I was going to get better. I couldn't see the end of me getting better. And I certainly didn't feel good. And I was just down and out in my brain of depression. And it was ongoing, depressed every day, crying. I wish it just knocked me out. I truly just wished at the time I would be gone. I also have a lot of ringing in my head. It's very loud in my left ear. I also have a lot of pressure in the entire side of my left head, my brain. And that's ongoing to this day. And so the turning point was this moment where I was laying in bed. I was probably sleeping like, I don't know, 15, 18 hours a day. And I'd wake up and I looked out of a window and I saw a really nice sunset. And I thought of a story of a two-toed sloth. And I know this is a bit off the wall, but that's where my imagination goes. I once was in a terrarium and I asked this guy working at the terrarium, "What's up with the two-toed sloth?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, he just chills in the tree for like, I don't know, 20 hours a day. And then he comes down and goes to the bathroom or eats something, and then he goes back in the tree and just hangs out." And I thought of that story when I was looking out of a window, looking at like this beautiful sunset. And I thought to myself, that's a great sunset. And I thought then, if I was a two-toed sloth, well, if I woke up and saw a beautiful sunset, and that's all I ever knew of my life, I thought to myself, well, I, I guess if that's all you ever knew, Mike, it's a pretty good life. Sleep for 15, 18 hours, wake up, see a nice sunset, and go back to bed. And so it was the start of a shift in my thoughts. That ridiculous or, off the wall thought of a two-toed sloth helped me make changes in my perception, my reality, my perceived reality. And so I started leaning more on that as far as trying to think positive, like, yeah, if this is my new life, may not swim, sleep a lot, but get to see a nice sunset. I guess that's a pretty good life. I started to really just go there instead of down a road of negativity. And so I started feeling just at ease and comfortable with like, okay, this is my new way of life. It's all good. And then it just kept going on to just positivity instead of negativity. And over and over and over and over, just say, Mike, no, like, let's be positive, not negative. And then through a little bit more time, things started to get a little bit better. And I was healing a little bit more. And then after like being pretty well healed, I was able to go into the water again and live my normal life. Like I said, I still have residual pressure in my brain. I still have a lot of ringing in my ear. But what this change to positivity did for me, even after the whole healing, was it enabled me to like envision and really see how I was living my life before and make changes to how I wanted to live my life after. And so I started living my life thinking about these choices like, okay, I could be positive about this or I could be negative about this. And that was my miracle. And so I started to live and say, okay, I have a lot of pressure. What can I do to help this? Instead of just being like, I can't believe I have a lot of pressure in my brain again. Yeah, it's there. But now what can we do to help the situation instead of going down a road of like, this sucks. So I started investigating healthy foods. I started investigating healthy lifestyles. I got into a raw food diet of eating raw food for like 6 to 8 months, drinking smoothies with spinach and bananas. I got into yoga. I got into mindfulness. I got into reading. I wanted to learn more about how can I be positive and healthy. I was living a life of how much tequila can you drink? how much can we party? And now I live a life of how much healthier can I get, so to speak? What can I do to make the pressure less? And so it really changed how I live my entire life. Then I once said to one of my great friends, Shawnee, I said, Sean, wow, I've made so many changes to being positive and healthy in a holistic way of living that if you told me that I had to live in my old headspace for the next 60 years, I wish somebody would have just shot me dead. And I know that's drastic, but it was real, because now the way I think positive and living healthy, I'm very happy to live for the next 60 years with this new headspace. And so I didn't know at the time before my accident how negative I would tend to be. The world's challenging, and we always can go to ugh, poor me, ugh, another day. Or we can go down a road of yeah, I got this. I can learn about whatever I need to learn about to do and feel however I want to feel, or do whatever I want to do. And so that's, I think, what my teacher meant is the miracle is within yourself. The miracle is literally you choosing to think about the positive, the healthy, the uplifting part of the subject matter in a positive way, instead of taking that same subject and going down a rabbit hole of negativity, which we can do either on any subject. And so this particular story, the skull fracture, was my catalyst to understanding that a little bit. And so I hope that it's heard, and I hope that the significance is powerful enough for you to understand how amazing this could be. I certainly didn't realize that these changes in the way I think were even possible. I didn't realize what an impact it would have in my life. Now I'm very happy to live. I'm much more calm. My life's much more boring, and it's better. And it's crazy, really, to think that I used to be so irritated so much, and now I'm not as easily irritated. And if I do get irritated, I can at least notice it and then make changes to think about what's positive. So yeah, just a little personal story about my two-toed sloth helping me really think about the positive of life. And so I hope that helps, because we all have times of feeling down and out and totally depressed, and we often can't see outside that box. And so I hope this is a story that could help you maybe see outside whatever downing, depressed box that we all might be in, to try to find a little bit of a miracle of a change into positivity. Thank you all guys so much. Thank you. Have a good day.